Let me say this slowly, because it matters. The moment someone stops arguing policy and starts talking about secret Jewish texts, you are no longer in a debate. You are in conspiracy territory. And once the door opens, history tells us exactly where it leads. Shalom, and welcome to Middle East in less than 5 minutes. I'm Igal, your host. And today we're talking about Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, and how criticizing Israel quietly turned into repeating some of the oldest anti-Semitic lies on record. What actually happened? Here's what went down. At Turning Point USA's AmericaFest, Ben Shapiro called out something a lot of people on the right have been tiptoeing around: the rise of antisemitic rhetoric being laundered as anti-Zionism. Candace Owens didn't respond with facts, history, or policy disagreements. She responded emotionally.
Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world.
And then she crossed a line. On her show, she held up a book, talked about the Talmud as if it were some secret manual, and implied Jews historically dominated the slave trade. That's not critique, that's a script. And it's one we've seen many times before. The Talmud claim, where it really comes from. Let's talk about the Talmud claim because this is important. Candace says the Talmud teaches Jews to hate non-Jews, to lie to them, to enslave them. That claim does not come from the Jewish scholarship. It doesn't come from rabbis. It doesn't come from Hebrew sources. It comes from a 19th century German antisemite named August Rohling. His book was exposed over 100 years ago as fraudulent, mistranslations, cherry-picked lines, outright fabrications. And yet, those same fake quotes keep reappearing. Why? Because they are useful. They were used by the Tsarist Russia, then by the Nazis. Now they're dressed up as a forbidden knowledge on podcasts. The actual Talmud is a collection of debates, arguments, disagreements, legal reasoning, not commandments, not ideology, not marching orders. You don't have to like Judaism to verify that. You just have to check a source. The slave trade myth, debunked to death. Now, the slave trade accusation. This one has been studied, audited, and re-audited more than almost any topic in modern history. And the conclusion is boring, which is why conspiracy theorists hate it. Jews made up less than 1.2% of participants in the Atlantic slave trade. The trade was run by European empires, royal companies, state-backed Christian nations. Jewish involvement existed in isolated cases, mostly as small merchants operating under Christian rule, never as architects, controllers, or financiers of the system. This isn't controversial, it's consensus. Every major historical body agrees on this. So when someone, Candace, keeps repeating the myth anyway, that's not ignorance anymore. That's intent. Why these stories always circle back to Jews? Here's a pattern. And once you see it, you'll recognize it everywhere. When Jews are poor, they're pitied. When Jews succeed, they're suspected. When Jews defend themselves, they're accused. Complex systems get reduced to one villain. Failure gets reassigned. Responsibility gets outsourced. And suddenly, Jews aren't a people anymore. They're a symbol, a shortcut. That's not accountability. That's scapegoating. This isn't about liking Ben Shapiro. You can disagree with him on Israel, on religion, on politics, on literally everything. That's fine. But the moment someone says Jews have secret texts that justify evil, you're no longer arguing ideas. You're recycling a lie that has gotten people killed for centuries. Candace Owens didn't uncover hidden truth. She stepped into a very old territory, dressed up as a courage, and called it asking questions. But history doesn't care about vibes, it cares about patterns. And this one never ends well. Check sources, read originals, and don't confuse provocation with bravery. This is Middle East in less than 5 minutes. I'm Igal, your host. Until next time, Shalom.